I didn't lose him, did I? Sure did. Where?
We're okay. We're still there.
Okay, sorry.
Welcome to Mr. Biz Radio, biz talk for biz owners. During the next half hour, Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth, a leading business advisor and two-time best-selling author, will cover topics that'll help business owners run their companies more profitably and more efficiently. If you're ready to stop faking the funk and take your business onward and upward, this show is for you. And now, here's Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth.
All right, welcome to another episode of Mr. Biz Radio with me, Mr. Biz Ken Wentworth. And I'm honored and humbled to say we have another return guest, a return special guest. He's rejoining us, and I'll give you a little bit of an intro. You guys are going to know who this is, but he's an 8-time best-selling author. He's an investor. He owns 12,400 multifamily units. He's got almost $4 billion of in his portfolio. And I will mention, he was on the show on Mr. Biz Radio earlier this year, and it was only about 8 or so months ago, and he was at 2.3 billion. So in 8 months, he's gone from 2.3 billion to almost 4 billion. He is a star of the second season of Undercover Billionaire. He's the founder of the 10X movement, and he is someone who never fakes the funk. Welcome back to Mr. Biz Radio, Mr. Grant Cardone.
Hey, thank you, Ken. And I love that. Don't fake the funk. And a lot of people faking it, man.
Absolutely. Too many people. Absolutely.
You don't even know what's real anymore. I mean, like sometimes I just assume it's not real with all the filters on social, all the claims people make. It's one of the reasons I invest in real estate is because it's so real. It's like you can't fake real estate. You got an address, you got tenants, you can go look at it, you can touch it, I can feel it. And it's, it's real.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason I wanted to bring Grant back on is he has just announced something that is unprecedented in the industry. And before we get into that announcement, I want to kind of lead up to it and give a little bit of background information. And it has to deal with one of his 8 companies, Cardone Capital. So if you wouldn't mind, Grant, walk us through what is Cardone Capital?
Yeah, so Cardone Capital is, I've been buying real estate for 32 years. I bought, 15,000 apartments. We still own 12,400. And I've done this in 12 states now. It's about $4 billion like you suggested. Look, I've always loved real estate. I've always intuitively believed in it. My other companies require my time and energy for me to make money. And real estate is a place where I take that money and drop it in and just wait. I wait for cash flow. I wait for the appreciation. Because I love it and I've studied it for so long, I have developed, or God has given me this unbelievable sense of timing. And I have a gift. I just got a gift at buying real estate. Like I know when to buy it. I know where to buy it. I intuitively just know places to go. I can't completely take credit for it. I mean, I have studied it quite a bit. And I've never lost money in it, man. I mean, in 2001, I made money. In the housing bust, I made money when all my buddies lost everything. In COVID, our apartments outperformed every asset class in the country. Office, hotels, like everything. Like there was nothing. A guy was telling me the other day, he's like, well, your apartments don't do as good as Amazon. It did 16,000%. I'm like, actually, I have 5 properties that achieve returns that cannot be measured on a calculator. It would take Amazon's returns times 1,000x, and I still don't come up with a calculation. Because basically real estate, the beautiful thing about assets, okay, the wealthiest companies in the world, those 2 companies are Vanguard and Blackstone. Mm-hmm. Those companies they actually never sell assets. They accumulate assets. The problem with rich people sell assets, and the super wealthy never sell them. And what they do is they refinance the asset, get all their money out of it, and keep the asset and the cash flow that comes from it. So this is Apple, Facebook, Google, Warren Buffett, you name it, dude. All these guys are playing a completely different game than the other 99.9% of the population. And so today I'm playing that game. And real estate is one of the only vehicles, unless you own a big, for the everyday person, real estate is one of the only vehicles you can do this in, unless you're Mark Zuckerberg or you're Warren, and you can buy a big position in Coca-Cola, which you can't.
Right.
So it's just, this is a phenomenal business. It's a place to preserve and protect capital. And it's a place to get cash flow that's not dependent upon my talent or how hard I promote or how hard I work.
Yeah, well, and I think one of the big differences too, so with Cardone Capital, is you find the asset, you find the multifamily, you find the right investments to make. People can invest in the different funds you have and get a piece of the action, right? So they can take advantage of this gift that you have of finding these places.
Yeah, so this deal right here, there's a deal, I'll give you a perfect example, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And in real estate, the beautiful thing about real estate is I don't need to give you an idea. I can be like, that's it.
Right, you can show me.
The name of the property is Los Olas Walk, Fort Lauderdale. It covers, I don't know, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks. Can't miss it. You can Google it. You can go to your Google satellite, put in Los Olas Walk. I bought that property. I'm going to close on it December 10th with my money and my credit line. I close, and then I let my friends and people that follow me on social media, my friends, my customers, and my family invest with me. This has never been done, by the way, in the history of finance. I'm allowing people with only $1,000, if you have 10 of these garbage pieces of paper that all of you should be worried about, I think that's 10, 9, 10, something like that. Okay. That's worth less today, by the way, than it was a year ago. And even less than 2 years ago. You can take as little as $1,000 and now be invested in an asset. I paid $260 million for this asset. $250 million. I'm not bragging. I'm telling you guys this.
Yeah.
260 million. You know, when I go to sell this, I'm not going to be selling this based on how good the economy is. I'm going to be selling this to $1 trillion company. Without exaggeration, $1 trillion company will buy that asset from me, and they can pay any price they want. So a lot of real estate that people buy, Ken, as you know, is like, you got to time it right. And then you got to find somebody to sell it to. And if the economy's bad, they won't be able to buy it because the economy's bad. When I buy something, I already know who I'm going to sell it to when I buy it. There's only a handful of people that could pay $500 million for a piece of real estate. It doesn't include doctors, chiropractors, lawyers, healthcare workers, policemen, firemen, teachers, or the everyday person. But the everyday person can be my investor and partner in that deal. And we're going to go sell it to $1 trillion company. And I'm literally going to reverse the tables on the wealthy institutions. I'm buying assets they desire. 5 companies and myself bid on that deal, and I got it. And they're all scratching their head saying, how did this guy get this deal? This is our deal. This should be our deal. This is the deal they've always controlled and always owned. It's a white guy's game. No offense to anybody, but this is a white institutional country club lockdown game, and I'm disrupting it by buying these assets. And you can see that I've been buying a lot of them.
Well, like I said, I mean, literally, no joke, Grant. You were on the show. We had you on to talk about Undercover Billionaire. It was sometime in January. So I guess it's been maybe 9-10 months. But I look back at my notes from that show, from my introduction I did for you, and you were at 2.3 billion, and now you're almost at 4 in the last 9-10 months. So obviously you're scooping up a lot of assets. And the beauty of it is, in this scenario, is these types of things of disrupting this game, as you mentioned, in the past, this is the unprecedented part that I alluded to at the outset, is it was only for accredited investors. So for those unfamiliar, accredited investors, you have to make at least 200 grand a year as a single person, or 300 grand joint for the last 2 years, with an expectation of having the same income or higher. You have to have a net worth of at least $1 million, not including your primary residence. Yeah, or you got to essentially be an investment professional with the series like 765 or 82. Otherwise, you cannot be an accredited investor, which means you cannot partake in exactly what Grant is talking about. Yep. But Grant has flipped the game around, and he's making it available to everybody, right? So as Grant mentioned, $1,000. An accredited investor, typically those funds, it's at least $100,000 minimum to get into those, right? With most of the funds you have.
Yeah, like, you know, first of all, there's nobody doing this quality asset for the little guy.
Right.
There's nobody doing that quality asset for accredited investors, to be frank. Okay. There's 3 institutions that would have written me a check for that deal to provide me the funding and the equity. I didn't take their money. The reason I don't want to take their money is a couple of reasons, because your viewers should be watching and saying, okay, but what's in it for him? Why is he doing this? Mm-hmm. Well, number one is I don't want to deal with those people. Okay. I am a very, I'm a very, what's the word? I'm outspoken. I have no filters, and I don't want them, you know, I don't want people telling me what to do. I live in America and love America, and I'm courageous, and I love free speech, and I don't want anybody telling me to get a vaccine. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I'm truly I have a lot of rebel in me. So if I go deal with Goldman or any of these big banks, dude, they make the rules. Yeah. So the reason I'm doing this is I think it's the right thing to do. I am going to disrupt the system, but also it helps me because I don't have to deal with these behemoths that write contracts that are so lengthy. You know, we looked at doing a deal with a group. The legal fees for me to get the money from them was over $2.2 million. Jeez. And they wanted to pass it on to me. And I'm like, hey man, look, I don't want that document. So Kim, when I offer this to your niece or my niece, I got nieces and sisters that are not accredited. So my sister, who's known me for 63 years, cannot invest in my fund. It's freaking ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
When I started looking into this, I'm like, why can't my sister invest with me? Shit, she's my sister, man.
Right.
And Wall Street, well, we want to protect your sister from you. I said, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm giving my sister an opportunity.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, Wall Street controls the regulation to keep my sister, my brother, my nieces, my friends, my employees that know me and love me and believe in me from investing in me, because they want all those investors to themselves. And any of you that think that that is not the truth, that is the truth. They're not trying to protect you. They're trying to protect the rich, the super wealthy.
Well, and I'll tell you, Grant, my background. So I worked at JP Morgan for 20 plus years. I know, I was on the inside of that. I know what it is. And I don't have anything bad to say about JP Morgan. I had a great career there. They treated me very, very well. But that is the truth. It's the lobbying dollars, right? They're protecting, they're pumping money into the political system to make sure that the regulations are favoring them. And as you said, that they can continue to control the game. So the fact that you're completely flipping this around. And by the way, like you mentioned, this is helping everyone else out, right? This is helping us as investors out, right? We can partake and utilize your expertise, but it's, you know, it's a win-win because it's helping you as well.
1000%. It's like you come in that deal. I don't change the basis of the property. So I'm telling you guys what I'm paying for the deal. We don't talk about the price a lot because of property taxes, et cetera. So you come in the deal, you put $10,000 in or 50,000 or 26,000, or you put your IRA or your 401k, all of them can be done, by the way, legally. 100% of that money goes into the real estate investment, not 98%. When you bring $1,000 to the bank, they take money out. When you buy $1,000 at JP Morgan or Merrill Lynch or Fidelity, dude, they're banging you.
Absolutely.
And then they keep banging you. Okay.
Right.
And then they don't pay you anything. Wells Fargo pays 0.012% today. So on $1,000, you make $1.20 a year.
Right.
Okay. By the time you started that account, you lost money. With inflation, you lost money again. When you go to the ATM, you got banged again. You take $1,000, put it in this deal. We're going to pay whatever the cash flow on the property is. We distribute to the investors. Hopefully I hit 6% on this asset in year one, which will be phenomenal. That is 50 times what a bank is paying you today, 50x. So it takes, the average checking account would take 8 years to earn 1%.
Right.
1%. And so number one, you get cash flow. Number two, your capital is protected against inflation. Folks, money is being undone right now.
Yeah.
It's being destroyed. It's being printed. We've had 40% more print. And you're like, why are you aggressively buying more real estate? It's expensive. Actually, real estate is still cheap compared to the amount of money that we printed.
Yes.
We printed this much and real estate only went up about that much. Real estate could go all the way up to this before we would have true inflation at a real estate level. And I believe it will go up this high. But first, we're going to print more money. I guarantee they're going to print more. This isn't over.
No, I agree with you 100% for sure.
Yeah. So we want to protect people's capital. The last reason I'm doing this, number one, I don't want to deal with the banks. I don't want to deal with Wall Street. You know, they're a pain in the ass. Okay. I envy them, by the way. And so just to be completely, transparent with everybody, I'm going to become a JP Morgan. But my investors are going to become my partners in creating this new thing. We have disruption at every level in the economy today. We have disruption in cars. We have disruption in how you get your food delivered. We have disruption in TV and audio. We have disruption in social media. Look, social media is going to go metaverse. We have disruption. If Mark Zuckerberg gets his way, you won't go to Disneyland. You're going to put a headset on and you're going to be in Disneyland. And you're not going to be in Disneyland as a viewer. You're going to be in Disneyland as Mary Poppins. You're going to be working at Disneyland. You're going to go to the World Series and you're not going to sit in the stands. You're going to be on second base and play the game. You're going to be an umpire if you choose to be. And all of that will cost almost nothing to do. And you'll do it from your apartment. Hopefully 10x living.
There you go. There you go. Well, and so just to reiterate and make sure everyone's very clear. First of all, you can find out more about this at cardonecapital.com, cardonecapital.com. But so again, in the past, you had to be an accredited investor, some of the stipulations I mentioned earlier, and it was $100,000 minimum investment. A lot of people don't have that kind of dough to throw into something.
Most people
Grant,
don't.
This new deal that Grant has, this new fund that Grant is established is for non-accredited investors, which means the minimum investment is only $1,000, like you mentioned. Between 1,000 and 100,000, you can put into this, anywhere in between there, at whatever you can afford. It provides all the things he mentioned. It provides cash flow. It provides capital preservation and passive income, right? So let's talk about that real quick. For the average person, that this non-accredited person, why is passive income so important, Grant? I know you're a huge believer in that. But
yeah, because passive income, regular meaning you can depend on it. It keeps coming. Mm-hmm. You can start depending on it. It creates confidence. Warren Buffett said that if you don't learn how to make money in your sleep, you're going to spend your whole life worried about your work. And so you have to get money to work for you. Too many people in America that we spend money. We look for a good deal. We buy cars. We buy belts and we buy Christmas gifts. And guys, we have people that are giving. This is the gift this year. They're like, I'm gonna buy this for my niece rather than buying her a bag. Trick or treat. We had people like, here's $1,000 rather than some candy. And $1,000 investment. My kids, I put my kids in this fund. So I wrote a $10,000 check to my kids. My kids will get a distribution every quarter. My kids are allowed to spend the cash flow, but not spend the capital. Mm-hmm. So one of the ways I created my wealth was I've had some policies. 1, I never lose money. 2, I only invest in cash flow assets. And 3, I never spend anything except my cash flow. For those of you watching, if you try this, I guarantee you'll create wealth in your life. I do not spend earned income. I invest earned income. Earned income is I go do a project, I dig a ditch, somebody gives me money. I do not spend earned income. I invest the earned income, and I only allow my family to spend the passive income that comes from the investment. So I spend my investment income, I invest my earned income, anything that's left over. And that's including
honestly,
buying a house. Like I wouldn't even buy a house with earned income. I would only buy a house once I have enough passive income to pay for the house.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand, especially on the non-accredited side. No offense to those folks, but they just don't have, they haven't been educated. And that's part of it. And I don't want to go too far down because I know it's a whole nother subject, but
yeah,
I know you've got 10X kids coming, but I do want to mention, I got to bring this up, Grant, Halloween. You got absolutely attacked by a horde of kids in a positive way. I honestly, I've been following you for several years. I've been the last 3 growth cons, obviously big fan and all that stuff, but I had no idea that, those kids look to be, I don't know,
12,
10, 12 years old. Yeah. And there were a whole herd of them, and they were chanting. You guys got to check it out. Go out to Grant's Instagram, check it out. They're around the car.
insane.
Elena and Grant had the girls out for Halloween. They essentially surrounded the car, and they're chanting 10X and all this other stuff. It was pretty cool.
It was, look, it was one of the most exhilarating. I've met a lot of people in my life. Like I've been with Kevin Hart and A-Rod and John Travolta, like jumped out of planes. I've been on private airplanes. Like I've done a lot of cool stuff. Halloween night, 65 kids bomb my car. Oh my God, Grant Cardone. I love Grant Cardone. I love Grant Cardone. They start chanting, I love Grant. I love GC. Like it was the most exhilarating moment of my life. Like I was so happy that I had reached these kids on TikTok and Instagram that have become fans that want to learn about money. They want to learn about investing. They want to learn about ethics. They want to have the ability to communicate and have confidence and swag and fun in life. And so it was super. One of the highlights of my life was those kids bombing our truck the other night.
Yeah, it was neat to watch. Well, so I want to shift gears here, but again, cardonecapital.com, cardonecapital.com. Go out there and check that out. Absolutely encourage you to do that. I've been an investor in Cardone Capital for a while now. So I would definitely encourage it. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid myself. So I wouldn't mention it otherwise. But I want to shift gears real quick. You'd alluded to some of the people you've been with, you've met with. So I want to talk a little bit about GrowthCon. So Grant has an annual event. It's the largest business and entrepreneur conference in the world. That's not hyperbole. Like that is the legit. A few years ago in Marlin Stadium, you had 34,000 people there. I mean, it's just insane, right? And so again, this is not just business. You don't just sit down and talk about, you don't have the stuffy accountant guy with the tape on his glasses and the old pocket protector talking about business stuff, right? So there's talk about business, but it's business. I would almost say, Grant, it's business entertainment. So let me tell you guys.
A rock concert.
Yeah. So the next event is March 25th through the 27th. And it's going to be in Miami. But let me tell you guys, if you're unfamiliar, so you can find out more at 10xgrowthcon.com. But some of the speakers he's had, just to give you an idea, that this is not just the stuffy, nerdy business type stuff, right? In the business world, people like the Sharks, Damon John, Kevin O'Leary, Sarah Blakely, who just sold a majority interest in Spanx, like huge, right? In the entertainment world, you mentioned Kevin Hart, Pitbull, John Travolta, athletes, right? Not some guy who's sitting on the bench, right? We're talking about Magic Johnson, who's been super successful in the business world, right? Drew Brees, future Hall of Fame quarterback, Floyd Money Mayweather, right? Which, by the way, that interview, I was very surprised. I knew a little bit about Floyd, but I didn't realize how much into business he was. So that was very eye-opening for me. And then, of course, friends of the show who've been on Mr. Biz Radio, Brandon Dawson, obviously Elena Cardone, Roddy Chong, who was, I think, in the first GrowthCon, has been a part of that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a sneak peek of that, Grant. What can you? I know you don't want to divulge too much, but what do you got planned for this year, or for 2022, I should say?
We got some names coming that guys like. when you see these people walk in the room, you're going to be like, I cannot believe that person's here. That's what I'll tell you. Like John Travolta was there I guess in Vegas last year. It was last year, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
And John, when me and John were in the back talking, and I've known John for a while, and he's like, so these people know I'm coming, and I said, no, bro. He's like, I keep looking for he said, I keep looking for the itinerary, but I can't see it. I said, no, John, nobody knows you're here. And he's like, what do you mean they don't know I'm here? I'm like, nobody knows you're here. Snoop Dogg, I had Snoop Dogg there, and Snoop's like, hey, I saw your ad last night. Why wasn't I on? I'm like, bro, nobody knows you're here, bro. Dana White showed up. Yeah. Dana called, hey, Grant, can I come to your event? I said, sure, Dana, come on. And then he spoke on stage. Like, these people want to be part of something big. And who doesn't, by the way? Yeah. So I don't like to advertise all the names, because what I'm trying to do to my audience is something that has never let me down, which is always exceed people's expectations. Give people more than they ask for. Throw in something for free. You know, if you tell them you're going to do X, do X, Y, and Z. And when you surprise people with value, then you can promote all you want, as long as you know you're going to over deliver on your promotion. And we promise people the best event in the world. We always deliver that. And the thing people say the most now is, how you going to outdo that one? Right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, just another example, guys, listeners and guys watching, guys and girls watching, 3 years ago in Marlins Stadium, I crap you not, I shit you not, I got there late the first morning. I had Uber problems getting there and all sorts of stuff. You didn't get to see my entry. No, I did. No, that's what I'm saying. I got in. It was actually perfect timing. So I'm walking in, and here, this guy is parachuting into Marlins Stadium. They opened up the roof, and this guy, and by the way, Grant, I cannot tell you how many people, right? So I'm, obviously part of the 10X group and all this other stuff, and a lot of people, and there were so many people who said that wasn't him. Well, here's the thing. Because I came in late and I saw you land behind the stage, take off the parachute and everything, because people were like, that was someone else. That was a stunt double. I said, I saw him. That was Grant, 100% for sure. I still got the damaged ankle to prove it. So I bet. I would never do it again, by the way. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life. Well, I'll tell you, it was impressive, and it was a way to open the show, to open the event. Oh my gosh. I mean, people were still talking about it. It's crazy. And now in Vegas. Crazy thing is the banks, the lenders on my deals now are like, hey, bro, you can never, ever do that again. Like, I bet. No more. You're not a cowboy anymore. You got a lot of real estate, so protect yourself. Yeah. Well, that was crazy. And like you said, the next year, Vegas, it was one after the other, guys. Like Usher was there. I should have mentioned that. You want to talk about someone at the top of the entertainment game, again, like I said, Kevin Hart. And a lot of these names, as Grant mentioned, they were not on the itinerary. So all of a sudden, Jared goes up on stage and says, guess who we got coming in? And they give a little intro, and then boom, it's, John Travolta, or it's Usher or whatever. It's just phenomenal. And I'm not just saying this because you're on, you always over deliver. I won't miss a growth con. I'm telling you right now, I would not miss a growth con. I've had my ticket for the next one for a long time. Just so you know, like when you over deliver to people, we're 80% sold out on an event that's 5 months away, in another year, like in 2022. So same thing on this kind of stuff. I'm going to repeat that action on our investments, exceed the expectation of our investors. This is what's happened in the last 5 days. In the last Friday, what's today? Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday. So over the weekend, we announced this fund on Friday afternoon at 4:00. We only had 2 hours of daytime, like a business time. Mm-hmm. In under 5 days, over a weekend, we doubled our investor base. $42 million came in commitments from accredited and non-accredited investors, 1,000, 5,000, 50,000, $1 million at a time. So if you guys are interested in doing this with me, one, go to cardonecapital.com. If you don't mind me just saying, Kim, where they need to go to cardonecapital.com. Don't waste time doing this. I've done 17 funds for accredited investors for my rich buddies. 17 of them, 16 of them, this is 17.
Mhm.
All 16, somebody got left out. So go there, Cardone Capital, fill out your paperwork. You have to be a US citizen. But nothing else. Like all you got to do is have an account, transfer whatever amount you want in there, take advantage of as much as you can. If I've done 42 real estate deals. I have never bought a piece of real estate that's better than this piece. I've never been more excited, and I'm closing with my money. So you guys know I'm confident about it. As soon as I close, you can come into the fund.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I know we're pressed for time here, Grant. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I did want to mention too, I didn't mention this before. So Grant has a real estate conference coming up here in just a couple of weeks, about a month or so, December 13th through the 15th. And again, if you go to grantcardone.com, you can find out more about that. And he had mentioned before we got on that if you get into this fund, you got to cardonecapital.com and you put at least $1,000 in, you can get a free virtual ticket to that event. The event's in Miami. If you want to come in person, you can call and figure out the details for that. But if you want to do it virtual, you're getting into the real estate game and you throw $1,000, $1,500, $5,000, whatever you can get into there and you're comfortable with, you can get a free virtual ticket to this event and learn more. You can get 3 days worth of real estate knowledge.
Yeah, and you should, by the way, when you
years.
guys make investments, you should learn as much as you can about the investment you made. But I would tell you to start investing and then learn, not learn and then invest. Like the thing about real estate is you can't do real estate by yourself. You need to do it with other people. This is not a lonely game. This is a game where there's a lot of people. There's tenants, debt, banks, investors involved. Like it's not property taxes. There's vendors. There's a lot of stuff to support a $250 million building. So I would tell everybody, and I said to Ken, Ken, let's do this for your listeners. You guys invest, when you invest at least $1,000, I'll give you the virtual event for free. Okay. If you want to come, that's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 3-day event. I do it once a year. You can come down for 3 days or you can watch it virtual and you can start learning the real estate game. You'll learn more about your investment. You'll learn more about your partner. You'll learn more about how property works and why the wealthy have used this for 1,000 years to protect their capital, take advantage of appreciation, and create wealth for themselves and their families.
Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, again, I really appreciate your time. I don't want to take advantage of it. I really appreciate you coming on again, Grant. Again, cardonecapital.com, cardonecapital.com. If you're interested in becoming a non-accredited investor in this most recent fund, if you're interested in 10X GrowthCon, and by the way, Mr. Biz will be there, 10xgrowthcon.com. I will be there in person in Miami with bells on, as they say. Looking forward to it. Again, Grant, thank you so much for coming on the show again. I really appreciate it.
Ken, appreciate you being here. Man, I didn't, when you brought me back to the last time I was on here and where we were at and where we've gone, I didn't actually realize I had, that we'd put that much on the board. It just goes to show you, all of you here, like, guys, it doesn't, put your head down, get around some good people, and it doesn't take you long to grow. And that's what when I did Undercover Billionaire, you can find that show at Discovery Plus. By the way, it's on their app, Discovery Plus. We're trying to buy the show back from them right now. But when you see that, you're going to see how much can be done in a little time once you're focused and once you have a strategy. So I'm just really, really excited, Ken, for you giving your listeners and viewers an opportunity to know about this fund. This is a game changer, folks. Please get your families involved. If you got a niece, a nephew, grandkids, mom, dad, hey, buy a little piece for them. Give it to them under the Christmas tree. Okay. And I promise you, I will not disappoint you and your family. Ken, thank you so much, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it, Grant. Thank you so much for being on. Guys, thanks for watching. And don't forget, as always, cash flow is king.
Thanks, Ken.
Yep. Thanks, Grant.